Before we begin, I think it's really important to acknowledge all of the people who couldn't travel here to be with us today. The people who are in Niskit, the people who are still in BC, the people that you've just seen in the film. And I want to hold a moment for them, because this moment is theirs too. And I also want to hold a moment for the people who are no longer with us and are here with us too, because this moment is theirs too. In the audience today, we are so happy to have 14 members of the community, families of the Klabona keepers who have traveled more than 5,000 kilometers to be here for this premiere of this beautiful film. Ramona, Annabelle, Wayne, Tanya, for always being there on the front lines and supporting the Klabona keepers. We honor you. To Huey, for creating the beautiful artwork and the animations. Robert, Caden, Bo, Jenny, the youth who literally grew up on the dirt road and the puddles of the blockades. And to Riker and Kyron, the next generation. That's you, buddy. This moment is yours too. And I am so proud to invite up to the stage they're in the bathroom, but I will be inviting them up to the stage. Listen, we all have needs. We can all relate. So I'll take this moment to say that for this Q&A, we may be taking some audience questions. And so we will be using a mobile site called Slido. So if you would like to ask some questions, you can open that site on your cell phone, your device right now. It's sli.do. And then you can use that app to enter the code HRWFF, the initials of Human Rights Watch Film Festival, HRWFF Canada, or scan these QR codes here, and then you can type in your question. We also have some volunteers. Raise your hands, volunteers. If you'd like to just have them write down your question and bring it to me, that's okay too. Just flag them down. So, I'm vamping. I am Anthony. I'm your conduit to the wisdom that's going to be on this stage tonight. I don't like taking up too much space, but I am the Impact Director of Story Money Impact. Thank you. And I think it's important for me to call out that my wonderful, beautiful friend and boss, Sue Bealey, is here. And our board of directors, who has been so supportive of us. And we are so proud and honored to support this film. They may not all be here, but I don't like vamping, and I want to bring up one of our incredibly honored guests, Rhoda Kwok. You already know, but Rhoda Kwok is one of the producers of the film, the main advisor of the film, and the spokesperson for the Klabona Keepers. Is someone checking the bathroom? And let's just talk a little bit. How are you? How are you enjoying the festival?
When I came, it was pretty emotional to actually see it. Like, it's done, we're here, and it's pretty emotional to actually see it completed and to have all of you here to join us. Thank you.
You can't imagine how we feel to have you here too. And that includes the Klabona Keeper Elders, Rita Louis and Bertha Louis. Please give them a warm round of applause. So you're going to hold the mics pretty close to your lips, okay? Okay. I like to think of kissing it. So I think my first question is for Rhoda. How did the standoff start?
In 2004, my husband, Peter Jacessa, was working up in Klabona for Shell Canada. At that time, we didn't really know the impact of what could become of Klabona. And that was our bread and butter. That's what he did for a living, to put food on the table for our family. February of 2005, we were over at my mom's house, me and some of my siblings, and we were told there that my late father's camp was going to be under a tailings pond. We left there, and I asked Peter if he knew about it, and he said no. He said, well, what are we going to do? Are we going to fight, or are we going to let it go? And then how it started, Peter got a call from Bear Creek contractors out of Terrace, BC. Fortune Minerals hired Bear Creek to go in and to prepare their camp. So they got a hold of Peter and asked Peter to meet his excavator up in Klabona to start working. So Peter called around to our community members, and they all agreed that we'll block that company, and we're going to start fighting to protect Klabona. Sunday came. We went down to the turnoff for the road that started going into Klabona. There was just me, Peter, and our two little ones, Caden and Katrina, our two youngest ones. And the truck was pulling in. Peter's an excavator operator, has a heavy equipment operator, operates excavators. Well, the truck was hauling Peter's excavator to go up in Klabona to start getting that camp ready for Fortune Minerals. Peter walked out on the road and blocked that truck and gave up that job so we could start fighting for Klabona, helping people fight for Klabona and protect it.
That's something I really want to ask all of you about, actually, because I think there is a danger of glorifying the victory and not acknowledging the impact that choosing to be on the blockade had on your lives and on your relationships and just the cost. And if any of you are comfortable talking about it, I'd love to ask, how did that choice impact your lives?
I'm Rita Louis, and my given name is She Takta'u Amitlinket. I belong to the Wolf clan. I'd like to acknowledge all our elders that we lost, that was with us on the blockade. I know they're looking down at us and just smiling right now because what's happening here tonight. I'm so proud of them that they stood up for the land. It gave us courage to stand up with them. And myself, I was the chief's wife, so that made it very difficult for me. I went through 2 weeks of really hardship. I turned to some friends, which I know that wasn't from the community. I thought she was going to help me because I was pretty down. And when I went to see her, she turned back on me. And she told me that's a shame what you did. And so I just went out of there. And it's not only the thing that happened with us, that a lot of our people was mad because you hear this man talking about jobs and money. No money in the world could bring back our land, especially when they destroy the land, they destroy Mother Earth. You'll never bring back it the same, no matter even how many years. I talked to a lot of my nephews, like what you hear. This one man said he was working. My nephew came see me and told me. He said, Auntie, he said, you go up there, he said, there's so much dust. He said, it's blowing down to the community. And he also told me that, he said, no matter at night when I go to bed, I shower before I go to bed. In the morning I wake up, there's dust in my bed. And he said, when I go home to Prince George, he said the same thing. He'd shower before he go, and the next morning when he wake up in Prince George, there's dust in his bed. So sometimes, we all barbecue outside, and that gets us real worried. There's a lot of things been happening on our community. Babies been getting cancer, our people. Sometimes we look around and say, what's going to happen? Like we're waiting for something else to happen. So we all stuck together and use our voice to fight for our land, for our grandkids and their grandkids, from generation to generation. And today, it's been 9 years since I lost my husband. And we went through a really hard time, him and I. I don't want to get into details, but it was a tough 2 weeks, like I said. But we came together again and worked things out because we have grandkids, great-grandkids, and our children. I say our children when they're adults. And that's been really hard on us, especially when our people turn their backs on you. You don't know where to turn. I was working at that time when they had that blockade, but I was on my holiday. So we went up to camp up at Klabona, my husband and me, and we all take our grandkids every year. They went with us. We stayed up there, and I heard they were blockading. And in my mind, I just think when I get home, I'm going to go to them. But I didn't say anything to my husband. And when went back, we came in, they were still blockading. And I was working at that time, the A&D counselor in our community. I worked there for 13 years. So what happened was I joined them. It was so powerful. It's so powerful to see our people call upon our ancestors and ask them to walk with us, especially when they offer tobacco in the fire and pray. That's what kept us strong and gave us courage to continue. Our people are strong people and powerful. It took a lot of courage for us to stand and say, this is what we want, and this is what we're going to get. You're not taking it away from us. We're going to stand here. You hear our elder said that. So today, I tell you, I'm so proud of Rhoda was our spokesperson. She went through a lot too. Not only, we all did. But it's so awesome to see this come through because we didn't thought we were going to be in Ontario and Toronto and sitting down here and see ourselves on a screen, a big screen. I'm so thankful for all the help that we got. There was a lot of people help us. And today it's still happening to make this so special. I'd like to thank Tammo, who's been with us for a number of years. Tammo got adopted into a lot of families up there. He's a grandson, he's his son. It's awesome. And Jasper too. Too bad Jasper not here because he was with us too. And the elders sure taught them a lot. So I'd like to once again thank everybody for coming out.
And thank you too.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bertha Louis, and I'm the elder with the Klabona keepers from Iskut. It was a struggle at the beginning, but when we're all together, we make it the best we can by talking together, do a lot of offering to our ancestors. We have a sacred fire that we gather around the fire and ask them to come down and help us and do some offering to the sacred head fire. I like to acknowledge everyone that was involved was with us together, every one of us, the elders that passed on. There was many of them that was shown in this film. It really hurt my heart, especially when I see my sister Jenny. She meant so much to us. And I also like to acknowledge all the other elders that can able to make it here, especially the one that's always there to help us with his knowledge and the story he says about that area. James Dennis. He was with us 2014 and also many other blockades that we were on. He was there with us. And there's lots of them that passed on that was there with us too. I'd like to also acknowledge Tamo, like what Rita said. He's adopted to many family in Iskut. He could be a son, he could be a grandson, and he knows how he's loved by everyone, including the little ones. So he deal with the kids at school too. And like what Rita said, it was a struggle between people who wanted to work and those of us that wanted to protect the land. It really meant a lot to us to protect the land. And I'm so moved by this film, and I'd like to thank each and every one who was involved in it to help out Jasper and Tamo, because there's many of you, Anthony, there's quite a bit that we met at Good Pitch 2018. There's lots of you that was there. And I could feel it in my heart. This film going to do really great for us. It's going to give our kids courage to continue to do this fight. Our grandchildren, great-grandchildren will be able to stand for the land that we love. What our ancestor, our parents has taught us on that land to continue. All the animals, the traditional plants that we depend on. It meant so much to me, and we're still having those problems there. There's still a lot of exploration around the territory, around the area. We asked for this 20-kilometer buffer zone to happen. We asked for it back in mid-2016, 2017. But so far, we never really see it from the government yet. So we're still struggling. And for sure, we like to keep the territory as it is, the way it is. So we could continue, and our grandchildren and great-grandchildren will continue and live the life that we were taught and the life that we love on living on the land. This meant so much to me. I thank you all tonight for coming out. Thank you so much to each and every one of you.
And thank you too. Rita?
I'd like to leave you with all this. Our ancestors walk all over the land on that mountain. And then come us. We walk all over there too. We leave our footprints. Our grandchildren's footprints all over up there too. And there's going to be more footprints around because we're going to still fight. We're going to do our best. Even if I have to walk with cane, I'll be there. Thank you.
My partner, Wayne, and I, he built a cabin up there for us to use 2011. So I have a cabin up there about 32 kilometers up there. And we usually travel there. We travel with Skidoo during the winter. So I'll be on a Skidoo for 60 kilometers to visit the land during the winter. And during the summer, we use our four-wheeler. So we're up there every time and then trying to enjoy as much as we can and live the life that we're taught and live the life that we love up there. It meant so much to us. And I wish it's protected forever. Thank you.
There's a question I want to ask, and I think a lot of the audience members are interested in too. There's a lot of questions about the type of help you received from organizations or individuals. And I know that that's a complicated topic about all the people who wanted to help. What are some of the ways that they tried to help, and how did you feel about it?
Are you talking about like when the fight like really first started, like the standoff and the blockades and everything? Well, we had some NGOs that came in to help. And it started to get like, at some point, it started to get like things had to be done their way. And it's not, you know, like we appreciate the help, don't get us wrong. But there's two different fights that's going on. There's the NGO's fight, and then there's our fight. Our fight, it's our livelihood. It's our kitchen. Like Uncle Louis said, that's what Klabona mean to our people. It's our livelihood. It's food on the table for us. So that was our fight, and that's why we fought so hard to protect it for our grandchildren, our future, like great-grandchildren that's coming. So there's two fights there, and I say, like, with every Indigenous fight that's out there, if people want to help, the best thing to do is go and ask them, like, what do they want and how they want it done. And that's exactly what Tamo and them did, Beyond Borden. They camped with us up in Klabona for 7 weeks in 2013. And it was always about what we want. The Pheloms, the Sphelum, everything. It was always about what we wanted. We have another person that worked with us, is Shannon McPhail. Same thing. She worked with us. It was rough at the beginning, but we worked it out, and now it's the way Klabona keepers wanted to go, this is how it's going to go. So that's one thing I would like to say. If anyone decide, like, want to work with Indigenous people, go to them, see what's their interest, and respect it. And you guys will have a good working relationship, because that's what we have with Tamo and Beyond Borden.
Thank you, Rhoda. Really important. I want to start taking some questions from the audience, but first, who took a postcard from the lobby? Can you hold it up for me? I want to just take some time right now and ask you to scan the QR code that's on that postcard. To just open it up on your phone, whether that's for right after this discussion, or later tonight, or tomorrow. Because there are ways that, even though those of us who are here in Toronto are so far away from the Klabona, there are ways that we can directly support what is going on. And I don't think I'm the right person to tell you what those ways are, so I'm going to run over to our boy Tamo, who flew over here on crutches, and he's going to tell you about the calls to action. Please give it up for Tamo Campos.
I think I'm going to run to the bathroom first. No. Well, it's a tough act to follow those aunties. Thank you to Bertha, to Rita, Auntie Rhoda for those beautiful words, Anthony for moderating, Human Rights Watch for all the time they put into this festival, and everyone who came out tonight. It's a little intimidating talking to a big audience. It's been a few years of pandemic, but I guess it's probably intimidating to talk when you come from a town of 300. I never went up there to make a documentary. I actually had very different intentions. We were driving up the old 37 highway that winds through their territory, and we were on our way to Fort Nelson, which is all the way past their territory, working on a different film. And we were driving around in this school bus that runs on waste cooking oil. And you know, there's a gas bar right in Iskit, and it was a really hot day, and we wanted to stop for ice cream. So we stopped in for ice cream. And one of the people there who was running the till, Ace Knoll, who's now a friend, says, hey, you know, there's the Sacred Headwaters Music Fest going on. You guys should check it out. It's all about the land and the place they're fighting for. You know, you're a couple hippies in the bus. You're probably going to check out a music fest. It was country music for 3 days. That was the first. And we hung out, we partied. And on that last day, Rhoda's husband, Peter, and another fellow, Oscar, came up and they said, hey, we know you got cameras in the back of that big bus. How about you come join us at one of our blockades? Our elders are trying to kick out a coal mining company in the headwaters of the Skeena. And we're like, oh yeah, that sounds fun. We'll join for a day or two. Well, that's what Rhoda's talking about when she's talking about 7.5 weeks. And in those 7.5 weeks, watching these grandmothers go toe-to-toe with the RCMP, with some of the biggest companies in the world, we were blown away, and it changed our life. And also on 7.5 weeks, you develop some pretty strong friendships. And so we just kept going back. And we'd go back, and we'd go back, and a few years into that, people started to ask in the community, hey, you're always filming our elders standing up. It'd be nice if you did a bigger movie. And we thought about it, and like, okay, we could take this on, but under some conditions. For one, it's got to be a gift, because you gave us so much. You know, you gave me a second family. You gave me a totally different way of seeing the world. You filled my belly so many times with moose meat. You know, these are elders that go toe-to-toe with the RCMP, but then they treat you with cookies and tea at the house, just like a second grandmother. And so we decided to do this film as a gift for the community, and also if we do work on it together. Well, we thought it would take, one winter. That was about 8 years ago. But it's done now. And I'm excited for the journey it'll take us. So a lot of the times we watch a movie, and we are inspired, but then we walk out, right? Well, tonight's a little different. Tonight we have an opportunity to enact a responsibility to the Klabona keepers and their continued fight for the Klabona area. So on that QR code that you just scanned, there's an opportunity to donate directly to a program that we've been collaborating with the elders that brings youth out onto the land that the elders are fighting for and gives that connection to that place. It's politicized youth programming. We have amazing times on the land, and then we talk about, hey, if it wasn't for your grandma Tsutsu Rita, this place would be an open pit coal mine. And so all proceeds from tonight, all the postcards outside, the t-shirts, please donate to a program like that, because that can directly tie you to that area. And secondly, like Rita and Bertha and Rhoda mentioned, the fight was not easy. There's a lot of internal division. You're in a small town. It's not easy to celebrate when sometimes you're blockading your own family. So on that same site, you can send a direct message to the Klabona keepers, the people who aren't here, the families, and you can send it by video or text. And I want you to tell them what this film meant for you. To tell them thank you, because they fought for an area that shouldn't just be sacred for them. It should be sacred to all of us. And so with that, I just want to thank everyone for coming out. This film is a gift. It literally, the IP of this film is owned by those elders up there. But most importantly to me, it's a gift to the next generation who's going to go up into the Klapan and inherit the Klabona. Thank you.
One thing I also want to mention is that on that QR code, there are 2 donation links. If it's important to you to receive a charitable receipt, there is a second donation link below the direct donation. You just have to make sure you write the Klabona keepers in the proper field, okay? I want to take one question that really stands out here on these questions from the audience, which is how do you support your youth witnessing this and staying strong? And we have some of your youth with us, don't we? So, how do you support your youth? Is this question.
How do we support our youth? Well, my kids practically lived on the blockade. Caden, is the youngest one. He learned how to walk on the blockade. You see him in the film. Our other youth, we talk to them, we encourage them, and they were always out. They were always at the camp. It wasn't only my kids. There was other youth coming down, like the elders' grandchildren's come down, and and we talk with them and
Yes.
tell them we're doing it for them. And
We did talk with them because there's quite a few of my grandkids there too. And I seen the picture of them in this film. They were so young. Now they're young men. And we tell them that they know how much the land meant to us because they go up to the Klabona area and camp with us and see what kind of lifestyle we're living, and they enjoy that. They love going out on land. There's quite a few of them that really enjoy going out on land and do the hunting with their parents or their uncles. So it's still happening. The youth is still going out there and using the land.
Rita?
For myself, I think how we support our youth and our grandkids is taking them out on the land and teaching them, about how we live, how we make our living. Because sometimes someone take them out hunting on the mountain. Some of them pick berries, even their boys that go out pick berries and make berries for us, for the elders. And there is a lot of teaching for the youth, because we always say our youth is our future. We have to make it real for them to understand what the land means to them. Because it's where I grew up, on the land. I used to go with my parents on the land until school started, and then we didn't go back on the land. When you're out on the land, it's just like a big book. You learn so much things that you never think you will learn. Because you go here and there, visit your elders, and they'll tell you stories. Stories about a long time ago that the youth really take it in and it touch them somewhere and it give them courage to say, oh, this is what I want to do. And today I'm so proud of my grandson, Caden. He saved the land because of how small he was. When he speaks, people listen. I'm so proud of him. When I seen Caden crying, I still get emotional because it means so much. And we have meeting. Now sometimes the little ones come. One of them was Bertha's grandson. He stood up and talked. We never stop them from coming to, if they want to come to a meeting to talk, we let them go. And the youth in the school, you won't believe what they're saying about the land. They want to fight for the land. They want to save the land. The land is very important to us. Very important. Like I say, we learn so much even ourselves. We all teach one another when we're on the land. We go visit each other and talk about a lot of things. But the best part is when you have a lot of fun. Just laughing and talking. And some of us, we're working. But when we go out on the land, everything's gone. We forget about our stress. We forget about everything because that land gives us power. Take away our problems. That's where we belong on the land. I'm so proud to say this and sit up here and say this about myself and about our people. Our people are strong people. You can move mountains if you use one voice.
It is such an honor to have you all here, to be able to listen to you speak. And I want to take a moment before we're closed by ceremony from Elder to bring the community members onto the stage. So please, Caden, Robert, you thought you were going to get away without being seen? Caden, Robert, come up to the stage. Jenny, come up to the stage with Riker and Kyron. Huey, Annabelle, please come up. Ramona, come on up. Wayne, come on up. Tanya, come on up. Okay, maybe just down here, actually. The stage apparently can't support everyone. Tamo. And then Rhoda, would you like to say something while they're coming up here?
Lynn, probably baby sleeping off. Ginny Lynn. She's in her lobby.
Last word from you.
One thing I wanted to say, I didn't want to talk on it earlier because I always get emotional when I talk about her. My mother, you seen on the film, her Ginny Kwok, she passed on in 2020, end of August. So I always said that she was the wind beneath my wing. She's the one who kept me going, like, throughout the fight, and my other elders, but Mom was always the one who was always there, like, when I was honest and I wanted to quit and I wanted to give up. She wouldn't allow it to happen. She pushed me through it, and so I continue with the fight. So at this time, I really would like to acknowledge my mother. And one of the difficult things about the fight was the blockades, whatever it was, like, really took me and my husband away from our kids a lot of times. Like, we had to. It was a fight that you can't just put on hold. So we dedicated our life and our time to it, and our kids Our kids has sacrificed a lot. They missed a lot of school. At one point, I had to homeschool Caden. Caden is my youngest one. He's the one who learned how to walk on the blockade. So, so you could see how long this fight has lasted. Caden learned how to walk on the blockade. And this is my grandson. And this is my youngest grandson right there. My daughter's holding him. My older son is right here, Robert. My youngest daughter couldn't be with us today.
Baby, watch out at Mama.
And thank you all again for coming.
Thank you. One more time for the families. And now I'd like to bring up Elder Constance to close us out in ceremony.
Are you guys okay if I come and stand amongst you? Thanks, Julia. My heart is so full, and I want to say, as a daughter born under the Northern Lights, that it's very easy for me to love you and to honor you all. And if I had known that you were the stars of this movie, I would have treated you with more respect. So, Klabona keepers, you're deadly. Before I do a closing prayer, I just want to reinforce that when we stand together as Indigenous people and allies, and we talk and we share our stories, that we have power and influence to change the justice system. Maybe kill the Indian Act, that'd be good, eh? And when we talk and dialogue together, we can vision together a future. And we can vision together a future that shows in a good, kind way how we can replace the Indian Act and stand as one heart, one mind. Of this, as an old lady, I am certain. Of this, as an old lady, I can vision a future where our children can be born without intergenerational trauma from how we've been treated. That our children can stand with that beautiful medicine of two-eyed seeing, knowing their language, knowing their cultural and their traditional ways, but also having the knowledge of the education system of the white people. And that is a deadly combination of knowledge. And that does nothing but strengthen our voice. So again, not a TED Talk, just a heart full of passion. And as I take this time to close in prayer, I stand before all of creation with a heart full of love, a heart of gratitude, to honor and uplift the Klabona keepers of the North Country for their courage, for their strength, for their culture, for their knowledge of the land, and how they have shared their stories. But in doing so, I also want to lift up the collaborators who helped pull this movie and make this documentary together. It is strong and clear, and in my heart, It shows nothing but the courage of the people. If nothing else, it is the fierceness of the courage and the knowledge of the land and the knowledge of your ancestors and that sema that you lay down to stand in your intention that speaks the most. And so asking a Creator to show her blessings down upon these people of the north and their lands, humbly asking all the ancestors of the people of the North Country, of the Klabona keepers, that they continue to join them in their dream world, that they press down on their hearts, that they entice them to their fire, and regale them with songs and the stories of their people, and that they do the healing of the heart. For the Klabona keepers have suffered much. The aunties have led with such strength and courage, and it is only through the knowledge of their ancestors and the guidance of their ancestors that they can stand. And Creator, I say, as the Mushims and the Kukums have passed on to the other side to sit with the ancestors, that they can rest well in the legacy they've left behind. And to the children and the grandchildren and the young people of the land, that they can fiercely pick up that mantle and that they can stand strong like their ancestors, and that they can carry their cause forward for the protection of the land and the waters. For that is why we as Indigenous people are here. That is our sacred duty. And my hope and prayer, too, is that the allies will know that feeling of joining their hearts to their minds, to have those feelings of a real human being, and that they, too, can understand and stand up strong as allies for the land and protection of the land and the water. As we go forward this evening, may we, like the beautiful fragrance of the sweet grass, carry the memory of the story of these strong people of the north. And like the teachings of that braid of sweet grass, when we stand together, we are strong. That is why we are still here. That is why we're so resilient. I'm inviting all the allies who have it in their heart to stand together with us and to ask for a blessing for each one of you that were present here this evening to witness the story. And that as we go our separate ways, it will be pressed down on your memories in such a good way. And that it will inspire you to stand up. And again, I say that word before all of creation. Matakwiash. All my relations. Hi, hi.